Welcome to Slash Forward. Get ready to soil your slacks because we're getting spooky this week with some supernatural thrillers. The first of which is Annabelle Comes Home, released in 2019. Let's get to it. We open on some hard, technical narration that seems to be trying to tie up some plot holes from the series by explaining that Annabelle herself is not possessed. She acts as a conduit for possession. The rules are such that destroying her would only make things worse, of course. So the Warrens offer to lock her away, secretly hoping she appreciates in value for some sweet, sweet eBay money. On the way home, they come upon a recent accident and offer to help.
You a doctor or something?
Doll aficionado. On detour, they roll into a classic alien abduction scenario. Ed prepares to be probed by seductively leaning over his radiator, but they're surprisingly accosted by ghosts and trucks instead. Lorraine quickly surmises that Annabelle is actually a beacon for wayward spirits and mechanical gremlins. So when they get home, they quickly bless her, and then lock her in a case made out of glass from a cathedral. Flash forward 1 year where we find Judy getting ready for school. We learn the Warrens do not enjoy a positive reputation about town, and they're on their way to another adventure, leaving Judy in the care of Mary Ellen, her favorite sitter. She's hesitant to go to school, which would be cause for concern, but we see that she's being carefully watched at all times, so it's all good. Mary then runs into her friend Daniela at the market in a totally natural and relatable way. We quickly learn that she's the fun one, and they get their flirt on with Bob, the dreamy e-boy who lives across the street from Mary Ellen for easy access. That afternoon, the girls are busy making birthday treats when Daniela, again, imposes herself in an obnoxious way. She gives Judy an outside toy for her birthday and suggests they take a roll around the block while she watches the cake. Instead, she immediately goes to get her rocks off in the forbidden room, which she gains entry to when she lets Jesus take the wheel. Inside, she demonstrates a failure to understand museum etiquette by touching everything, which is doubly inappropriate inside a haunted museum. We learn that she's looking for a means to reach her recently deceased father, and the connection is strong enough to get Annabelle to call out to her. However, she doesn't tarry long as her diversion has resulted in the fire alarm going off. Out at the chicken coop, darling Daniela...
It was the thing. He was darling Dad and I was darling Daniela. Stupid.
Yeah. Gets reassurance from Judy that her dad is still out there. See? She goes to check it out but declines to tell anyone what she's up to, even when things start to get spooky. Judy ends up playing a game of hide and seek with Annabelle, followed by a game of earthquake, and then murder wedding? Mary Ellen finds her and she pulls a sixth sense on her, revealing she sees ghosts everywhere. With their goose pimples on full alert, they get positively titillated going through ghost files in the office. Judy reveals that the doll in the case is the spookiest of all, and Daniela continues to say nothing. With their spook tanks now full, they transition to a more wholesome pastime, although they barely get started feeling around in this box before the doorbell rings. It ends up being Bob and their pizza, which is only mildly spooky, and the fellas linger to get an eyeful of Mary Ellen before heading out. Later, Judy goes searching for the channel changer and gets a glimpse of Annabelle before the lights cut out. She calls out to Alexa for lights on but gets no response. Turns out this was just a birthday surprise, which is followed by a good old-fashioned wooing from Bob, who has trouble finding his cords. And then he's chased by a werewolf. Daniela intends to leave for the evening, still not having told of the hell she's unleashed. She remembers that she forgot about the keys and sneaks in the back to return them, finding herself deep in the cabinet of curiosities, messing with various artifacts again despite her ignorance of what anything is. This eventually flushes out her dad, who seems to be irritated about being dead. Mary Ellen is summoned into the office by a malfunctioning reel-to-reel and finds herself in a darkened hall following a trail of coins. She examines them intently until she eventually runs into the ferryman, who plays a little leg-tugging game before vanishing. She runs to get Judy but finds the door locked. Judy's inside watching as young Annabelle goes through demonic maturation. The girls attempt to leave but find all points of egress blocked.
We're trapped.
I'm pretty sure you can just pull those slats off. But since they're stuck, they try to call Mrs. Warren for help, but she just makes sure they know to feed Annabelle a soul while she's gone. Back downstairs, we see Daniela is getting a call and is happy for the distraction, but Judy and Mary Ellen bust in to warn her off. Daniela then admits to releasing Annabelle from her case and filling the room with spiritual energy. In need of additional attention, Mary has an asthma attack in the hallway, so Judy just runs right outside to get her inhaler from the car while Daniela is forced into a puke swap situation. Outside, Judy meets the werewolf, but Bob steps up to help, and then continues to not run into the house. Mary Ellen gets her puffs in, and they're now determined to find Annabelle and put her back in the case. To do so, Mary Ellen ventures into the House of Leaves, retrieving Annabelle quickly. When they get back to the case, they find themselves facing down a fully embodied demon, who has the spooky powers of dropping frames and face-sucking. Judy repels him with a classic move, but then it gets real spooky when everything happens at once, as they finally reintroduce Annabelle to her case. Man, they should just use that cathedral glass on everything if it works so well. Then Bob runs in to make sure he gets the sexual currency he earned for werewolf fighting right as the Warrens come home. Later, Judy's parents-only party is saved when her besties show up, bringing her school chums with them, having vouched for her not being so much of a freak show. Mrs. Warren takes this opportunity to provide closure for Daniela, giving her a message from Papa and lying to her about death not being eternal pain and screaming. And that was The Conjuring, Annabelle's House Party. If you enjoyed the video, I'd love for you to become a part of the channel by subscribing. Thanks for watching.